Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing the movie Eternal Sunshine, the Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston, and Jeff Michaels. Like we said in the opening, we're doing the Jim Carrey movie Eternal Sunshine, the Spotless Mind. Which one of you gentlemen have the synopsis of this movie?
Gentlemen.
I'm being nice today.
Well, where are you going to find gentlemen?
Which one of you douchebags has the description?
Yeah. Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so a couple undergo a procedure to erase each other from their memories when their relationship turns sour. But it is only through the process of loss that they discover what they had to begin with.
Oh,
well, here's
such a sweet story.
Well, I
Based
guess
on that description, no male is ever going to want to watch that movie.
Exactly.
Scene,
They're afraid their penis is going to fall off.
You were asking me earlier about. Well, I made a comment saying it was a chick flick earlier, and everyone's like, "Well, no, it's more." That description makes it sound pretty damn chick flicky.
Yeah, well, here's
and it really to the detriment of the movie because it is a good
see what the
movie,
genre says.
and it's it does a disservice to it.
Genre.
Well, here's my question.
Drama, romance, sci-fi.
Who reads IMDb descriptions and goes, "Oh, that sounds like an awesome movie"? They're the vaguest thing on the planet.
Yeah,
or they
true.
spoil the whole damn movie.
All right.
Pretty much, usually. Yeah.
So
yeah.
here's since.
All right, Johnny, go first.
Thank you. I was going to say I'll go first. The one.
Well, that's nice. We'll go first.
I'll do that. I
How's
actually
that
wanted
going?
to start at the question.
Is that going well?
Is how many times did she actually use the service? Because the way they portrayed the character,
15.
it seemed like she used it more than once.
In the movie, technically, she only used it once, but I know that reading and looking at deleted scenes, they ended up. She got it done a couple more times. They were thinking about throwing it in, and it was all over Joel. So apparently, they kind of weren't meant to be together. But that was kind of the point in the end of the film that it was just kind of like, well, I'm a fuck up, you're a fuck up. All right, well, whatever happens. Let's
Joel
go.
drove her to insanity.
So Joel only did it once, but she did it multiple times. That would have been the way it is.
Kind of, I guess. What I read is I think they both went back and forth with it afterwards, but as the movie states, yes, it happened one time.
So wait, okay. If
I
this
feel like
was
you're
real
reading
life,
from your own case study of this movie.
he would have drove her to major alcoholism to forget everything that he did.
How?
To forget everything.
No, they have the procedure. You don't need
No, but I'm
alcohol.
saying in real world,
Yeah,
she would
right,
be a
exactly.
major
In real life,
alcoholic
she
trying to
would be
forget
an
everything.
alcoholic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? I'm just bringing it to real life.
And the other question.
Sadly, I'm sure that's the case on more than a number of occasions.
Yeah,
That's
true.
The other question I have is, do they erase that business from their mind? Do they erase the entire thing?
That's what I was kind of curious
when they
about
erase
too.
their mind, does the guy slip a business card in their front pocket?
But I think so.
No.
I think they do because there was a couple scenes in there where it was like the tape and everything. That whole procedures section was being erased. So that was in the movie where they were erasing that.
It would make sense
Word
too
of
that
mouth
if,
on that business must suck.
Well, here's
No,
my.
I have something in there to cover
Because
that.
here's my thought. What they do is they erase the consult, just not what the business does, just everything leading up to the initial.
So it's like
talking.
leaving an advertisement just buried in there somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Come on down. We'll erase your memory. Where the heck did that voice come from?
you know they actually. You know
That's
what they
the only thing you remember when you wake up.
right before the movie came out, they actually created a website for this this
Movie.
fake doctor's office and everything, and they actually had like a lot of people go to their website and think that this was real. It would end up leading them to the trailer of the movie, of course, but for testing, to see what people how they'd react, they ended up putting up a website that made it sound like this was a real plausible thing to do. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
kinda
far,
interesting.
let's see, you've seen all the deleted scenes, you've read a bunch of stuff on the internet, and you've visited a bunch of the websites. Under 11 times seeing this movie.
Oh yeah, but just to start, I have never been to that website. It was something I read.
while searching for
I do,
things about the movie.
Oh, come on. It's guilty pleasure. Of course I
guilty
enjoy this
pleasure.
movie.
Found that website.
You like pleather?
Well,
Yes.
that's all the website, for example, is really the new style of viral marketing. I mean, the Batman movie had a Bruce Wayne website for Wayne Industries, so
I still didn't get that job.
The new RoboCop movie has it, so it's something that they do. Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim even has a website, so I'm not surprised. The one thing I actually thought was really well done was
the color scheme.
Was the camera transitions between the end of one memory. If he's on the bed and the next memory would be him on the beach in the bed. I loved how they used the same camera movements, because if you look at it, if I remember correctly, it was on like a rotation, and they kept it the same pattern.
Well, so the other thing, I do. I kind of appreciated that, because also you're not looking at 100% CGI this whole film. I mean, of course there was probably some in there, but the majority of it
Kirsten
was...
Dunst.
Shut up. The majority of it was, I mean, you have like illusions and tricks and stuff that are all non-computer.
Well, I think
I gotta agree with you on that.
Old school movie magic. I mean, it's one of the things that I fell in love with about movies in the first place, is all the things they can do with just forced perspective.
Well, I think what a lot of the CG was the actual transition. Well, things would fall apart, move away, get dark.
No, that didn't even look like CGI.
Well, I think a lot of that actually was some of it that had to be CG. Some of it probably wasn't, but I think it was. I think a lot of it was practical effects added by CGI.
Okay, I'll give you mostly practical effects, maybe a little CGI, and smoothing out the transition.
It's actually the same director did another movie called Science Asleep, and he uses minimal computer effects in his movies, or at least these two that I've seen. And I really enjoy that. So you got to kind of... It's like back when film was in the silent era. You didn't have someone to say, this, and explain it. You had to be able to visually see it. So it kind of has to paint that picture. And
I do think the lack of CGI, and I think the place where they picked it, very industrial, very drab-looking area, I think that actually added to the film. It didn't give it kind of that Michael Bay CGI look.
Right, and the color aspect to it, too. That there was the real... Joel was a very drab character. He was very... So a lot of the color tones that you would see are kind of drab colors and kind of, but then all of a sudden...
Emo.
Right, emo, exactly. And then you get Kate Winslet's character, which is Clementine, to come in, and she's just full of color. She's bright. She's adding something to his life.
She's shiny,
right? But it's very.
She's the Joker to his Batman.
Exactly, but it is all painted through color.
Jim Carrey is not Batman. He's the Riddler.
Even the color of her hair.
Kate Winslet is a psychopath.
Even the color of her hair will tell you where you're at in this film with what's going on. I mean, the color has a lot to do with this film.
That's what I've liked about keeping track of it. It really helped, jumping back and forth between all the memories.
I didn't think it was that
her hair
difficult
color
to keep track.
kind of sort of indicating the time,
It wasn't supposed to be difficult to keep track of. It was just the fact that it was an extra guidance for you to say, okay, I know what's going on. It's not that we're
for people
making
who
this
treat this
complicated
movie like a drinking
They're
game.
just no, it's not. It has nothing to do with that. They're not making a complicated movie. They're just setting.
Her hair's blue. Take a shot. Take a shot.
Yeah.
Her hair's green. Take a full beer. If you're seeing orange, shoot yourself.
The one thing that actually really surprised me with this movie is when they're after Clementine, and it was in the middle of Joel's getting his memory erased. Elijah Wood's character was taking Clementine on the date, and he was bringing up the stuff that Joel's character had said to her.
That guy was a douche.
And that was the part that surprised me, is that he wouldn't have thought of...
I don't think you were supposed to like him.
Is that, reminding or saying verbatim the things he said, that wouldn't have somehow made her react. Well, that was the part that surprised me.
The memory had already been erased, but I think the pathways were there or something, so where it probably subconsciously kicked something into gear where it says, wait a minute, this isn't right, something, it flashed. It was like your body saying, no, this is crap.
But then again, Elijah Wood's character wasn't supposed to be a very smart character.
Yeah, I mean, so
of course he's going to be doing stupid things.
He actually did a really good job. I mean, you did not genuinely like him at all. You were like, my God, this guy is just low.
My favorite scene describing that was when they were talking about doing the memory delete, and he's like, dude, I stole a pair of her underwear. Yeah, the guy's like, you did what?
And did you know that most of Elijah Wood's scenes were improvised as well?
I actually wouldn't be
surprised. The dialogue was
surprised.
improvised, so I bet you
I'm
came
not
up with that
surprised by that.
I'm
That's
totally
awesome.
not. It actually does seem like something he would say,
Right?
actually.
Does it?
Right? Wait a minute. Do we know this guy? I mean, come on.
I've actually seen a lot of interviews with the
What
guy.
kind of
He
inside
actually
knowledge
seems...
do you have on our beloved Elijah Wood?
Oh, don't
Well,
you know he's coming in next week?
Well, I've seen a lot of interviews.
For a beating.
I've seen a
Gonna
lot of
jump him.
interviews he's done. He recently did an AMA and Reddit. He just seems like something that a guy. He seems very upbeat, fairly intelligent. He seems like he would understand the character.
Well, I
so
don't
it
know.
seems like something he would say to me.
This is actually pretty interesting. If you
Well,
look
he
at his...
definitely seemed like he understood the. I mean, look, everything that he's done before that has been, really, really kind of watered down watercolors. Sort of cut out of Disney's cloth.
Well, this is
Except
right in
from Green
between.
Street
Hold on.
Hooligans.
This is right after he did the first Lord of the Rings. Or not? No, actually, okay. So he just did Lord of the Rings,
So it's
Return of the
2004,
King,
right?
Yeah.
Return of the King. So
Yeah,
this
first
is
Lord of
right
the
in
Rings was
between.
2003, I think.
This is right in between Lord of the Rings, Green Street Hooligans, Sin City. Everything is illuminated. So he's actually turning his career around right at that moment.
Yeah, he turned the corner about that moment. But I
So-
mean, playing this kind of character is really almost the antithesis of all the other characters. That
Yeah.
You've always liked him and other stuff.
Yeah,
No,
you kind of
so
despise
people
him in this
soft
role.
grades.
You're like,
Yeah, this is right before I started to like him. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's right before I thought before he showed he had acting ability. So
Yeah,
Because before that, everybody knew him for Flipper and North and a bunch of roles that nobody really cared about.
yeah,
Good
and you
Son.
know
North
what?
kicked ass.
The
Green
Good Son.
Street Hooligans was amazing.
no, we
and he
did
was
that in the show. It's a great
Yeah.
movie. We all agree that that's a good one. We did Everything is Illuminated. So pretty much all the movies that he did after we've already kind of covered.
Ladies and
his
gentlemen,
Kind of funny
ability.
how many Elijah Wood movies we've done.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen Everything is Illuminated, that's the one of the few movies that all three of us gave a 5 out of 5. That's one of the
that was the hat
episodes.
trick on that one.
That's a movie I definitely suggest not only watching but watch back
It's
that
funny,
episode
like Schindler's List.
and let us know what you think about that.
Anyway, so moving on. Yeah, of course, Elijah Wood's character you weren't supposed to like, so you expect him to do stupid things, and it is impressive that he did, basically off the cuff all his lines. So
Right.
it's interesting. You got anything else?
No,
Johnny?
that's really my point.
All right, so basically what I was going to say is, this, I do like the transitions that they did. There were some really cool ones, like the scene where he's running through the bookstore and all the lights are shutting off, and he ends up back into the house that his friend. Did I ever mention the friend's name? I don't even. I
No,
can't think of the
God,
character's name. Anyway, but I've
don't
seen the
think I
actor.
ever
a few
did.
They
times.
did.
You mean
she
the-
said his name. Mama Carrie. Carrie is the.
Yeah.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
the
Anyway.
That's
the guy who
wife, I
kept
guess.
getting a fight with his wife?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he had the dog on his
I
lap
don't
and
think he
everything.
ever
Yeah.
mentioned the name.
Yeah, I think the wife
Yeah,
did.
she
Anyway,
did.
but yeah, he ends up back in that house. I thought that transition was really well done because it's not like it was all done by set play, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
And anyway, but as far as I'm concerned about the story, and I just think that most of this could have really been done with a double dose of sleeping pills. Just covered it, put him out really good so he doesn't wake up type thing.
See, I don't agree. They gave him medicine that was strong enough to put him out completely. in
Almost
the beginning.
instantly.
Yeah, almost instantly. And there was only really 2, maybe 3 times when his eyes came open, and it didn't have to. The one time when he was trying to wake up, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's just gonna work like gangbusters," and starts trying to open his eyes, and he's like, "Wait a minute, that did work."
I don't remember the gangbuster line, but okay.
Yeah. They were laying. They were.
He was
in
laying
the
in the
woods,
leaves in the forest.
leaves, yes.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
And then you got the other time when he was almost drowning, so he's almost dying, so subconsciously so he's almost trying to wake up, almost grasping for air. I think it's all in his subconscious that he was trying to wake himself up because his body was recognizing that they were getting rid of something he actually wanted to keep. And in
Yeah.
the beginning, yes, it was all fighting because what's the end of a relationship like? It's not going to be puppies and kittens. It's the end of a relationship.
I think this is the part you could really call it the love story. This is the section because it shows that even though he hated her for certain things, this is the point where he really loved her.
And
He
weren't they
loved the
together for
good
3
times.
years or something?
What's that?
Were they together for 3 years? Was it just 3 years? I don't remember how long they said before they went and started trying to wipe their memory.
It was a while. I don't remember the time.
Was it 3 years?
Well, they met at the beach
party.
party by that guy that
Yeah.
we can't remember his name
Yeah.
and his wife.
They weren't that big of a character, really. They were just kind of motivation for them to meet.
It was
Anyway,
I don't
but
know.
but yeah, I understand what you're saying. But initially, it seems like 80% of his memories of her were really just her screaming at him, getting upset at him, like they're walking through the what was it, farmer's market or whatever that was, and they're having a nice, lovely conversation. And he makes some, snide remark about her probably not being a happy mother, and she just turns on him and like.
Well, but that's real.
It is.
I liked how realistic this movie actually was when it came to people.
But I think that one of the things that I jotted down was some of it they should keep. I kind of go with John a little bit on the stoner logic type thing about how it that if you don't like the memory, just do your best to get rid of it or forget about it or shut it up.
Out, yeah.
Yeah, it is a cop out. But if they kept that, then you would remember not to make that mistake again. So if he hold on, let me keep going. That's the
point of the movie.
That's what I'm saying, is that he should have really remembered why he broke up with her. And there's a lot of people that break up and get back together, break up and get back together. That's just, I'm sure most of us know people that have done that multiple times.
Right.
Ryan keeps doing that. So anyway, but if they kept that in his memory, he would probably not get back together with her, or they would end up working it out. And I understand that that's the point of the movie, but I don't know. I just don't. The way that I always dealt with girls is I break up with you, you get one shot. I'm not going to get back together with you because there was obviously something there that didn't work out the first time. You weren't willing to work it out, or I wasn't willing to work it out. Let's not make that mistake again. So that's probably why I don't enjoy this movie as much, is because I don't get that. I see that as just stupidity.
So I'm curious. Sorry, I wanted to go towards switch to Ryan. I'm really curious on some of his
I had
points.
one more point.
Oh, okay. We'll bring up your point then.
The last point I was going to make is I think that and this goes back to something you were mentioning about how many times that people do this, and if they erase actually the fact that they did that. As far as the business is concerned, the doctor, that is fantastic turnaround. You erase the person's memory so that they do make the mistake again. They go out, they want to get the memory erased again. That's just turnaround. That's profit in their pocket. That's why Kirsten Dunst was on the phone with somebody like I think the second time Jim Carrey came in, and she's like, well, it's not our policy to do it 3 times in a year or something like that, So that person has been to them at least twice already. And she's going to make an appointment again for a 3rd time, possibly not that month, maybe later on. But yeah.
Also, though, to add on to Kirsten Dunst's character, she supposedly got an abortion. Their affair ended up in a baby, and she basically aborted the baby and got the mind erase done, and that's why it was such a that's why the wife in the in the end was basically you can have them.
They did kind of cover that a little bit. They referred to it or insinuated more.
They barely scraped the issue with it, though. So, I mean, that's one thing I read that I thought was kind of
and another thing is, I want to know what kind of waivers they had to sign before they did that. Because, there were some scenes in there where they're kind of like, oh, my God, where Jim Carrey, I guess, is fighting for his love. He's fighting there, and they're really getting serious about erasing it. I kind of want to know what types of waivers he had to sign to get that done. Like, I am sorry if I erase the memory of your whole family and in your childhood on accident.
Right, you're not responsible for the loss of memories of children.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet it was like buying a house. You'd probably have to sign your name
the whole
twice.
procedure even pointed fun at the people that were doing it, because he goes, well, there's no chance of brain damage, is there? And the doctor goes, well, technically the procedure is brain damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So, Ryan, I'm really curious to see what you thought about this movie.
Well, shit, everybody kind of glossed over everything that I was more or less going to say.
That's cute.
Sorry.
Yeah, right?
My bad.
No, it's fine. I mean, I think we all more or less feel the same way about this movie. I really like this movie. I saw it when he said it last week that it was going to be his guilty pleasure. I was like, oh, that's not a guilty pleasure. It's a damn good movie. It turns out it is a guilty pleasure because this movie cost like $20 million to make, and it made like a couple of $1 million. So nobody really went out to see it, apparently, and I think it became sort of a cult favorite after the fact. But, I mean, for a damn good reason. Good characters at a point when Jim Carrey wasn't saturated into the drama market yet. So, we were all really accepting of these kinds of roles. It was really good. It had, mix of his, comedic elements. Um,
Well, I think the comedic elements were more in his face instead of
Yeah,
the
right. Well,
typical
that's
like
okay.
wackiness.
I got you. Yeah.
he wears everything right,
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a couple goofy characters I saw in his face. Yeah,
But it
I'll
wasn't.
agree.
It wasn't like Ace Ventura bad.
No,
but it
it wasn't
very
I don't think it was meant
descriptive.
to be that way, but
Well, I didn't see any fire marshal either, but that's all good.
That would have been random.
This movie needed just an intermission with fire.
Sorry, what were you
Anyway.
saying, Ryan?
All the visual effects. Again, that's half the reason I loved movies as a kid was watching these things. Like Vertigo. When that movie was made, that was just a camera trick to get that look.
Yeah.
Just a very simple camera trick. But what it did for the screen, for the perspective of the viewer, was give you that sick feeling like you're going down a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So I love when people do it practically without oversaturating with CGI and things like that. Movie's full of awesome little characters. We already mentioned Elijah Wood's douchebag character. But see, I think I saw David Cross was in there.
Yeah.
And Kirsten Dunst. I mean, a bunch of people that you recognize.
Actually, has a pretty big name cast.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, for such a kind of low-rated movie, I guess. Because not rating, but I mean how much money it grossing movie. There we go.
Yeah, that was sad how little that movie made in retrospect.
Yeah.
I love that the color and everything, like you mentioned before, was telling the story along with the story going along. Yeah, I mean everything visually, this movie was incredible. The message behind the movie was awesome too. The philosophical arguments you start kind of having in your head about like, oh shit, would I do this? Would have I been in that situation? It's awesome. It is one of those movies you can watch, sit there and think about all these things. Yeah, I totally dig this movie.
Okay. Well, it seems like he kind of summed up everything.
So,
right.
what about you? Now, because
I
this
got a
was
question
your
for
pick.
him. I have a question
Jeff.
for Jeffrey. Do you feel bad for liking this movie?
No.
You have no regrets for liking this movie?
No.
None?
No. Then why is it a guilty pleasure?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the point. Hold on.
I'll explain that.
Let me finish first.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to finish, and then you can rebuttal,
All
if that's
right.
okay.
Do what you do.
Do what I do. All right. Well, I'm going to do that then.
All right.
Okay. So, as far as I'm concerned, a guilty pleasure is one that you should not like as much as you do.
I will go as far to say that I like this movie more than other people do, probably.
But more than you should.
It's kind of a comfort film, one of those ones I can put on and just not even have to watch it, and it's okay. It's like a background thing for me. I don't know.
Okay.
I have a few movies like that, but I think it's really what this movie stood for, the message.
Like at the end of this episode,
And,
Ryan,
That's awesome, Ryan.
Just to let you know, man, you're breaking
I
up a little bit.
completely agree with you, Ryan, right there. That's amazing.
yeah, thank you.
Very
Yeah.
deep insight.
Well, no, I think...
You're sorry, man. Your internet was breaking up a little bit on us.
And it is a little bit of a guilty pleasure in that nobody's seen this darn film, right? So if I go up to somebody and explain to them, hey, this is what this film is about, they're going to be like, meh. It's one of those films that you have to see and kind of judge for yourself. Like, because if I were to describe it, it sounds like a chick flick, not more of a sci-fi kind of thing, just as IMDb even describe it.
See, I don't-
IMDb.
I just don't see
IMDb.
it as a chick flick.
Yes.
Even the description to me doesn't, talk about racing memories and that. For some reason, it just doesn't sound like a chick flick to me. But
Well, no, that's the...
No, the IMDb description, it
sounds
just
like a
makes
love
you like,
story.
oh,
Right?
so
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of
And it's
making
really
that joke.
not. It's raw. That's part
No,
of what
I
I
will
really
agree with
liked
you.
about this. Is
I
it's
do
raw.
appreciate the grittiness of it. I would even go as far and say instead of raw, just gritty.
there you go.
There's a lot of grittiness in their relationship.
And it's more realistic as the way they got along with each other. 'Cause it
Yeah,
wasn't-
you kind of glossed over that earlier. I was going to bring it up again, but how real the human moments in this movie were. They relied a lot on the human interaction between those two and how kind of uncomfortable it got.
Right, even when they were having fun, it wasn't like these movies that portray with puppies and flowers and people smiling and babies.
Yeah.
exploding. I don't know. There's just no point to it.
Babies
you know?
exploding.
Well, anything. In other words, anything could happen in there. It doesn't
That's
really
something
matter.
I haven't done with my
But
wife yet.
With
Let's go
this,
explode some babies.
you've got
Oy
people
vey.
acting real towards each other.
Right.
So
You know,
here's-
where it's more of a F you as opposed to, oh, we like puppies and flowers.
So
and
here's my
everything's great.
question: what do you give this movie in the the Real Flix Reviews
Hold
rating
on.
system?
No, hold on. Do you have more points? You have paper.
The only one more thing that I really liked that I took from this film is one of the quotes. They're laying in bed and she's just, bitching at him and everything, and he just looks at her and goes, constantly talking is not communicating.
I like that. That one was a good one.
And it just
I do
kind of
agree.
stopped her right there because she's going, damn it, he's right.
Yeah, no, that was a good line. I did really like that line. That was one of the few lines in the movie. Like, that's really well thought out of a line.
It was. It's like, because a lot of people are just, I don't know, firing off at the mouth and thinking that somehow that what they have to say, I don't know. It's just, I'm at a loss.
It's a line from there's a line from one of the death metal bands that I like too. That was goes along the lines of something like talking and breathing does not constitute thought.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
They had some really good points. So if you want to know what I gave score-wise out of this, I'd have to say 5 because it's one of my all-time favorites.
So Ryan,
That's what makes it my guilty pleasure too, by the way, is that it is one of my favorites because, I don't know, not a lot of people dig it.
so what about you,
I
Ryan?
think you're justified in it. I feel like we should all come back after this episode and give kind of a PSA about how, art is art and it's in the eye of the beholder, and, it's not a guilty pleasure if you really love it.
Right?
You shouldn't feel guilty about your pleasures, everybody.
Isn't
It's
that
more-
fetish? I thought
Okay,
that was a fetish.
Mr. Buffalo 66.
Exactly
Yeah.
my point. All right?
Thanks
by-
Buck
asking.
66 and super.
Well, at least your favorite's not like the Human Centipede or something,
Oh,
no,
he'll get
no,
there.
no, that movie's terrible.
So what about you? What about you, James?
Way, in case you were wondering.
I just didn't really like it that much because, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see a real relationship out of this movie.
It's
and
because
that's
you
fine.
have no soul, isn't it?
That is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
We'll go
he
with
has
that.
a soul. It's a black heart. He used to be my roommate. He has a black heart.
So but I don't dislike the movie. Honestly, I there's things I enjoy about it. Like I said, I appreciate a lot of the way that when he was in his mind and the transitions from different memories. I thought that was really well done. The aspect ratios they played with, the camera angles when he was a little kid, were really cool. I thought that was really well done. But as far as everything else, I just 3.
So what about you, Ryan? I might have cut you off.
Yeah, you did, but it's okay.
Sorry.
Everybody cuts
What
him
was
off.
your-
Nobody really cares.
What was your?
I know,
rating?
I'm the guy in the box. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna sit here in my little cage.
Glass
Anyway,
box of emotion.
a 4, solid 4.
Okay.
It's one of those movies I watch again. It's like, oh, I fucking forgot how much I like this.
So I give it a strong 3 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
I would have given it a 4, but
Jim
Elijah
Carrey
Wood
in
was
it.
there.
it's just Jim Carrey. I've never
I
been.
knew it had to boil down to Jim Carrey.
I'm not a big fan of Jim Carrey, but I definitely say that this movie and The Truman Show, I got to say, out of anything he's ever done his entire career, are probably my favorites. Just because
I'm just gonna- Sorry, go ahead.
you get to see something that you don't
should have
see.
cut him off.
You get to see, his more of his acting range. You get to see him use his face, the way he does the
Acting
faces, and
range?
actually add to the story.
I don't
without-
think I ever saw him get
Not
pissed
to-
in this movie.
Not to cut you off, Ryan, but if you're gonna, I don't know. It's the whole. Well, I don't like this person. It's like, well, it's either they did a good job or they didn't.
and
No, you
on
see,
that point, I'll agree with you.
Well, I
Yeah, thank
hate
you.
Jim.
So start giving Will Ferrell a chance.
I hate Jim
fucking
Carrey for
assholes.
multiple reasons outside of movies. So,
But see, you can't. Okay, that's like saying I hate the janitor for his personal life.
Yeah, my grandmother used to hate Hugh Grant because I think he was with a whore.
Right?
Yeah,
You know what?
that is true.
It's their job to portray something, and if they do a good job portraying it, then they've done their job well. Regardless of if they're like skinning and eating babies in real life and they're this terrible person.
Okay, then let me
we
put
don't
it-
we don't
let me
we
put it this-
stupidly hold on. We stupidly uphold these people to like say that they're supposed to be these, these people that we look up to and yada yada yada. No, they're not. They're here to do a job, and that job is acting.
So
and if
let
you
me-
if you are able to believe what has been said, then they've done their job.
Let me put
End of
Let me put it this
Okay.
way: his
I agree.
out of 2 good movies, out of his entire backlog, does not make him a good actor.
Okay,
2
I'm
good
gonna
movies.
go ahead and say this on the record because that's fucked up. I'm a huge fan of just about everything Jim Carrey's ever done, save The Cable Guy. I can't get through it.
Yeah.
But I know people who love
Bliss.
that movie, and I just can't do it. Oh my god.
I don't know. Okay.
But yeah, dude, Ace Ventura 2, even
Yes.
Majestic, Truman Show. I'm sure I'm missing a handful of these.
He was even in
Anyway,
Deadpool back with
like
Clint
with everything.
Eastwood.
I've never had a problem with Jim Carrey.
I just
You
never,
know-
I've never really liked him.
Well,
It's
I
never
under-
been a-
Summer
Hold
might
on.
be one of the funniest movies ever made.
Which
But
one?
I mean, easily top 3 in my book.
But hold on. No. I understand what John's saying, but you guys are completely right in the fact that there needs to be something in there that he gets over the fact that it is Jim Carrey because he's not doing a goofy, stupid role. But I understand that when you look at that person's face, you remember, something that he did that you didn't like because it is that same person and they really can't change their face unless they put a mask over them. Or if they do something like Megamind, which is one of the few movies I like that Will
Either
Ferrell did.
that or they need to change their actions, not the person's
Okay,
face.
I
this
agree.
is this is.
I agree.
I guess part of it is also because even though Jim Carrey acted,
But you're typecasting Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You really are.
well, I don't have a problem with that.
But that's what stems the whole problem.
Yeah.
You're right. I just
Incredible judgment.
and so this is the section we're going for movie news, and I was wondering if you don't have anything, I do, and I was wondering what you guys thought of it.
Well, the only thing I do have one thing.
Okay.
New Anchorman's coming out in December,
Fucking
and I don't care what anybody says. Jim Carrey's in that one too, buddy. And
Hell yeah.
I'd like to see it.
So here's my other
Wait,
thing.
that's your news?
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, my other question is, I'm really curious what you guys think that Jim Carrey, he's in Kick-Ass 2, and he recently
know where this is going.
at the last
Oh, I
couple
know
of
where this is
days,
going.
said he's not endorsing the movie because of the violence of Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Here is a simple question: is that a good thing for the movie? A bad thing? What do you think? Because I know how I feel.
I don't
it's-
think people really
I
give
don't
a
think it's
crap.
going to affect it one bit.
You know what?
Because
Yeah.
personally, I think it's kind of a cop out.
Well, hold on.
But
No, I don't think it's a cop out. I don't think it has anything to do with the movie. I just think it's his personal way of sort of saying, like, hey, look, the Sandy Hook thing kind of sucked. This type of movie sort of hits me in a different way now. It's my personal belief. Him not endorsing the movie isn't saying, hey, nobody go watch this thing. You're a terrible person if you do. It's just saying, look, for me, it was just kind of bad timing,
Hold on. I just got to say one thing about it is if you guys have seen Kick-Ass, the first one, the way that that little hit girl goes crazy and starts slaughtering all those people, if you're not expecting that in Kick-Ass 2,
Right.
then you shouldn't be watching Kick-Ass
Well,
2.
and-
Now,
Right.
hold on. Let me
They were
finish my
filming
statement
it,
here.
I'm sure. See, that's the thing. Is
So,
when he,
hold on,
he-
hold on. Hey,
Ryan,
shut
hold
up. So, if you're not expecting that, then you should be watching Kick-Ass 2.
Well,
And
when
Jim
he-
Carrey saying that he's not endorsing it because of the violence, that would make you want to see it even more.
Well, and
And not really care what Jim Carrey has to
And-
say about it because you're expecting that already.
Well,
if
here's-
you're sensitive enough to get upset about Sandy Hook already, and not to say that anybody
I
who
was
went
gonna
through
say-
it
Yeah.
is, like a sensitive person, I'm just saying that, if you're sensitive, like, I don't want to see this violence because it's so realistic and blah, 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 you're not going to watch the movie anyways. You're not going to enjoy it, so don't go see it.
realistic as a costume vigilante killing people. But so because the other part of the
Duper.
question is, do you think the movies are too violent? I mean,
Hold
I'm
on.
a huge Tarantino fan, so I mean, there's built-in violence.
Well,
but
hold on.
what do you
I want to
think?
give Ryan his chance to rebuttal what I was kind of saying. What were you
I
saying?
wasn't trying to rebut. I was trying to help you out on a different side of your point. That when he accepted the role of Kick-Ass, whatever's part in Kick-Ass, all this stuff hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So he was probably totally on board. Hey, this is going to be fun. Hey, look at all this cool. Look at all the blood packs and everything. And then now, since that happened, it was just, like, I don't know. I mean, if he was trying to say like I don't like any violent movies nowadays, because the fact is violent movies exist.
I think,
and people who want to go see violent movies are going to go see violent movies. People who didn't want to go see violent movies are going to not go.
Yeah.
Those crowds are not going to change.
You vote with your dollar.
What Jim Carrey says.
I think it comes back to what I was saying before. It's their personal life. Who gives a shit?
You know,
Right.
I agree with you in that, in the sense that, you know, I mean, if
you're gonna live your life after somebody else, I don't know, put a bullet in your brain because you're really not worth it.
Here's the thing. I think this is separate than the earlier discussion, is because he's one of the main stars in the movie, and whether you believe it or not, what he says might dictate what people see it. If he says, I think this is a waste of time, I regret doing it, then that might reflect in box office dollars. I don't think it will.
People need to, not him. People need to readjust their goals then, because you know what? If
he was sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I don't think he was saying anything that the movie was good or bad.
Oh, no, he
was
wasn't.
Just saying it was violent.
Yeah.
I think it was more of him making a statement on society, far as how the level of violence in movies are.
That's the way I took it.
You know, I don't think the level of violence in movies has remotely escalated.
I think it's gotten more defined.
If you go back to the late 70s, which sparked the video nasties war, that stuff was a lot more violent than where we've gotten now.
Well, what was the movie we did? The Killing?
Yeah.
What, 1956, I think it was?
It's okay.
I mean,
in America,
that movie, the violence in that movie looked more real than anything that I see nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People, nowadays everything's overdramatic. Everybody gets shot and flies back into a bookcase or something.
But none of the movies that we have nowadays even remotely touch Cannibal Holocaust or Driller Killer.
They're fringe movies. I was making the point with The Killing that there was mainstream movies out there that were showing just as bad of violence back in the day as they are now.
I think what it is, and this is my opinion, I think what it is because they show it more. They show the blood. They show the bullet wounds. It's more defined because the quality of the film they're using. I think it's actually the technology that elevated that.
So you're saying like Luke's hand getting cut off.
No, I agree with you, right?
And now would make it more realistic, but I don't really see
over dramatic blood packs, everything going on doesn't make it look any more realistic. It makes it look more cartoony as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, go back to Ninja Assassin.
Well, here's the funny thing. I actually know people who won't see violent movies if they have a lot of blood. I actually know people who are like that.
Well, they're just
their prerogative.
Hemophiliacs or something, whatever.
Well, no,
that is.
I was just curious.
Yeah, those people weren't going to go anyway,
right? That's not the directed audience.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said in the beginning. If you don't want to see that, then you're not going to go see that. Vote with your dollars. If you don't like it, don't go. If you don't like it and you do go, well, you're just stupid.
My personal opinion, I'll be honest, I'm actually surprised he said anything. I'm just surprised because he's not a celebrity that really lets his feelings.
Hold on.
He was playing a bad guy, and maybe he felt.
I got another thing to say about that too. Is if you have an issue with something like that, and you put it on your Twitter or something,
that's what it was
is that what I was on? Okay,
yeah.
Well that's fine. But if you go and do it like promote that and push it out into people's faces, then you're an idiot. I understand having an opinion. I understand being a celebrity and wanting to put your opinion out there and expecting people to listen to it. That's cute. But if you're sitting out there promoting it and putting it on people who are going to go see that movie and saying, oh, you shouldn't go see that movie because of that, well, you're just being an idiot. And you need to shut up.
Well, in a world where I'm sure, even regardless of this, like there's going to be the trolls on the internet, because the internet is a cruel, cruel mistress. Yeah. Somebody's going to comment to him because he's a big enough celebrity that says, you did this movie after Sandy Hook. How dare you, you heartless bastard, or some variation of.
Yeah, but if you get
preempting that, like, look, please don't get up my ass about this. I know I played a bad guy. I know I made it look kind of funny, but that's not really my personal feelings on it. I just kind of want to distance myself from that character.
And
maybe that's all it was.
I don't think this is far from what his personal opinions are, being like anti-gun and anti-violence. It's just things he said beforehand. So I think this is right along the lines of the stuff he said before. I was just surprised he did Kick-Ass, honestly.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think like if you're a celebrity and you do a movie like Kick-Ass or something like that, or go around shooting a bunch of guns or anything in your movie, I won't mention that person's name. And then go around and say, oh, guns are bad. You shouldn't have guns. I don't believe anybody should have guns. You're a hypocrite and an idiot.
I think, but the two things I think,
you shouldn't pick a role like that. You should go hang out with Michael Moore and sit there and eat some donuts.
Right, yeah, you having fun on the set with those guns basically proved that guns are fun.
Yeah, exactly. So you're being a hypocrite. Shut up, sit down before...
Well, I think part of it also is kind of, as Jeff said, they're an actor playing a role. I mean, that's...
I understand that, but, you get to choose what you want to do. This can even go back to the Clerks discussion of, all the construction guys on the Death Star. I could really quote that right there and say, you know what you're getting into. If you don't, then you are stupid. And you deserve a horrible death getting blown up by a little wannabe Jedi.
We're running a little late.
Okay, one more thing, though.
And now
Everybody should ban the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh, wait, hold on, why?
Okay, first off, don't get me started on this.
They're not aliens.
We really should.
That's actually changed.
Because I heard that they weren't going to be aliens, but Krang's going to come down and sort of initiate the whole them turning into mutants on Earth.
Michael Bay is a no-talent ass clown. Here's what's going on.
Of course he's a no-talent ass clown. But
okay.
He's a rich no-talent talent.
Yeah.
They didn't get flushed down the toilet. They're aliens, is what they're saying.
Well, see, no. I heard that there was that was sort of misreported. Like, they're basically Krang. Remember Krang?
Yeah.
Krang is the alien that comes down. Something happens that sort of like they bring something from the alien planet that turns the turtles on Earth into mutants.
No.
That's kind of what happened in the cartoon.
No. See, here's what happens.
Because there's not.
They go to the sewer.
That are in space
they have
that
pizza
are
parties with a rat, and then they kick ass. Okay. Don't screw that up, Michael Bay. Come on, please. I'm begging you, Michael Bay. If you ever see
this,
this,
to explain why the turtles became mutants, that it was like alien technology.
They were alien turtles. They're not even mutant.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get out of control anymore, next week we're doing the movie Man of Steel, which is the new Superman movie. So watch that before next week.
Kill Michael Bay.
We'll spoil it for you.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.